Derek Chamblee again. And some things about Mayor Bob Buckhorn. It's Wednesday still, raining here in Atlanta, Georgia. Last day of November, November 30th, 2016. Wanted to talk about the 2012 Republican National Convention hosted by the city of Tampa and Mayor Bob Buckhorn. During that time, evidently, Mayor Bob Buckhorn made a deal with the National Republican Party, probably because when he decides finally to declare that he's running for governor of the state of Florida from the mayor's office of Tampa, probably because the Democratic Party has basically locally rejected him. The base of the Democratic Party has rejected Mayor Bob Buckhorn and any kind of tag as running for governor as a Democrat. And so his backup plan is to switch parties. More than likely, he'll run as a Republican. And it has a lot to do with crushing dissent, freedom of speech, protesters that preceded the 2012 Republican National Convention in Tampa, connected with a number of groups. One in particular was called Occupy. And Mayor Bob Buckhorn systematically, diabolically, used the Tampa Police, the Criminal Intelligence Bureau, arrests, intimidation in the courts against the leadership of the group that calls themselves Occupy. And by the time of the 2012 Republican National Convention, Occupy had really been broken at that time. Now, going back to when Mayor Bob Buckhorn was thinking of running for mayor after he served on the city council, the former mayor, Mayor Pam Iorio, ordered the arrest of another group that calls themselves Food Not Bombs, because they were bringing food, clothing, and offers of jobs and housing to the poor and the homeless in downtown Tampa. Former Mayor Pam Iorio ordered their arrest in a little park on the north end of Franklin Street, Herman Massey Park, which we declared a free zone for the homeless in 1993. And many of, especially the leadership of Food Not Bombs at that time, and even presently to this day, are students at the University of Tampa. And they decided they were going to make a stand that every Sunday they were going to continue to play their guitars, bring out vegetarian food and clothing and whatnot to the poor and the homeless in Herman Massey Park in downtown Tampa. And the Mayor Pam Iorio at the time, ordered the Tampa police to arrest them, and the arrests continued for some time. Fast forwarding to Mayor Bob Buckhorn, as soon as Gaslight Park was built across the street from the Tampa Police Department on Franklin Street, Franklin and Madison, Freedom Street, site of over 50 arrests of Christian street preachers and volunteers with the Homeless Network during the 1990s, ordered by former mayor and at that time special assistant to former mayor Sandy Friedman, Bob Buckhorn, once again. These arrests of the Christian street preachers over and over for for speaking to the crowd and protesting the city council and Mayor Friedman's oppression in Herman Massey Park, arrests of the homeless that were sleeping there, lining Herman Massey Park at that time in September of 1993 on Saturdays, when the Homeless Network volunteers from all over the Bay would come with food, clothing, and offers of jobs and housing. They would line that park with police cars and threaten the volunteers and the Christians and the leadership in particular with arrests. So when we took our complaints to City Council, we were threatened with arrests for making speeches in front of City Council. In fact, my first arrest in April of 1994 was on City Council, City Hall Plaza. We had a permit, a city permit, to have our signs and to demonstrate, and one by one we would go up and take our 3 minutes and speak before City Council. At that time, the president of the City Council, Ronnie Mason, and the City Council attorney, David Carr, ordered my arrest, and after making my speech, I went down to the City Hall Plaza downstairs, and then the police came and arrested me. That was my first of 26 arrests, which resulted in 18 cases, 7 trials, 6 jury trials, and acting as my own attorney in county circuit, and even later filing my federal lawsuits in federal court. It took me 7 years to win my freedom, and virtually all 18 cases. The record was 14-4. I had 4 convictions. One, my last jury trial, I was represented by lawyers from Washington, D.C., New York, Virginia Beach, connected with the American Center for Law and Justice. And they happened to, I was convicted in that particular case. At any rate, eventually I won my freedom, even in that case. When 8 months into my probation, Mary Hatfield Watt, also known as the Fruit Lady, who was brought the charges against me. She was a state witness in over 15 cases connected with the street preachers and Homeless Network volunteers on Franklin Street. And at any rate, she brought a case against me that I was harassing her. At any rate, lost that particular jury trial, and I was put on 1 year probation. But 8 months into my probation, the word came to me that suddenly, after going into the hospital at the age of 33, Mary Hatfield Watt suddenly died. At any rate, back to Mayor Bob Buckhorn and the 2012 Republican National Convention, hosted by the City of Tampa and Mayor Bob Buckhorn. The mayor used the Criminal Intelligence Bureau of the Tampa Police Department and arrests and intimidation to crush dissent, to limit the protests and the protesters. And to this day, we remain convinced that he's going to switch his affiliation from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. And this has been his quest versus freedom of speech, his quest versus our democratic freedoms. And Mayor Bob Buckhorn, who wants to run for governor of the state of Florida, should be recalled. Mayor Bob Buckhorn. We feel, with his oppression of the poor and the homeless, the very, really appearing to be the weakest people in the city of Tampa, to use the Criminal Intelligence Bureau and the Tampa Police to oppress the volunteers. We feel that these are crimes against mankind. I'm Derek Chamblee. This is CyberCitizen Network, broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia, on a rainy day, the last day of November, November 30th, 2016.